All right, welcome to Revit. We're going to be starting here with basically a super clean, empty version of Revit. So I'm running 2023. Hopefully that's what the class is going to be running. Um, so I'm just going to jump right into it here, and I'm going to click New. So this is going to start opening a new Revit file here. Now, when you do this, you're going to have a couple options here for the template file that you use. In this case, we're going to go with the Imperial Architectural template, and I'll show you why in a second, but we'll just go to Create New Project. Don't choose Project Template, just do Create New Project. And it will load in here in a second, and while it's doing that, I'll point out a couple things here. So up here at the top, we have a context-sensitive nav menu, or interaction menu, and so what's going to happen is as you choose options here, this whole menu is going to change. So you're going to be wanting to keep an eye on what's going on in this menu up top. You've got different options here that you can choose, but keep an eye out for this little green tab right here that's going to be at the end. So if I choose different options, what shows up in this area is going to change based on what I'm doing. And especially as we start getting into things that draw, this draw menu right here is going to be very important. Anyway, so we're here in Revit now, and what I wanted to point out is that when you start up that default template that I pointed out, you want to make sure that you have the level 1, level 2 site, and then a couple ceiling plans and some elevations, and nothing else, okay? Let me real quick switch back to another one, and I'll show you what you want to avoid. All right, so this is the that other template that I told you to avoid, the construction template, and what I want to show you is what it's got going on here in the project browser. So it has all these different floor plans, it has all these different 3D views, and so this is a lot of stuff that, and it's got some sheets down here that are pre-generated too. That's a lot of stuff that we don't need to worry about for this class. So that's why I'm going to say avoid this, because otherwise you have to go in here and rename everything and it gets kind of complicated. All right, so make sure when you do that you choose the architectural template, and I'll just show you again, new architectural template. All right, so let me close this. Okay, so right here in Revit, you're going to have a series of tabs here under that context sensitive menu, and to get out of that just hit escape. Okay, so you've got these tabs right here. As I open up down here in the project browser new things, you can see that it's going to show level 2, level 1. I'll do ceiling plan, oops, elevation, and so right now everything's empty, but I can keep jumping back and forth between these. One of my favorite things that I have, or that you can do with Revit, is you can go in here and actually change that setting. So you can tile your views. So here I can actually keep an eye on what's going on in multiple panels, just as part of Revit. So if I'm working on one area but I want to keep an eye on what it's doing to something else, this view, tile views, is super handy. Another thing that we often run into is someone will accidentally close one of these menus over here. So if you do find yourself going, oh, well, I'm missing my project browser, or the properties tab, that's going to be under View and then User Interface, and you can turn, oops, nope, not the system browser, User Interface and Properties. There it is. Okay, turn that back on. All right. So let me, and then you can drag these around, group them back together. They'll tile out real nicely, whatever they're doing. So you can have one open and then kind of jump between other things. I think that's this right here is a super cool feature, and I highly encourage you guys to use it. All right. Anyway, so let's jump back. So architecture is kind of like your home. There's a whole bunch of tools here. We'll get into those in another demo. What I want you guys to focus on right now is this window right here, the properties. That's where you're going to be doing a lot of your work with things. And so as you select things, if I select this right here, you can see that the context again changes within this window. So it's highlighting different things that I can do with these, because each element in Revit is going to have its own configurations. Now I know that's going to sound scary. It's going to sound like you have a billion things to learn, and it's really not that complicated once you get used to what's going on. All right. The other thing, and I kind of just jumped through it earlier to open up all the tabs, is the project browser here. So we have floor plans are right here. We have ceiling plans. You have your sheets, your legends, your schedules. We'll get into all those later, but for right now, just know that you've got your elevation, ceiling plans, and floor plans right here that you can easily access. All right. So now that I have these open, one other thing that, or a couple other things I want to show you is actually creating new floors. So Revit works by assigning things to things. And I'll show you guys in the demo, the following demo, what that means, but just go with me for now. So right now we have level 1 and level 2. And so if I want to create a new floor for this project, what I can do is just copy this, and I don't think you can right click. So I'm going to do a Control C on my keyboard and then a Control V, and it wants to assign it on the other side. And I can just place that right there. So I just added another floor to my project, and then Revit was smart enough to go, oh, well, he has level 1, level 2. Let's add a level 3 right here. Okay. And then you can see right here as well that it also has the height of that floor determined. So right now my level 2 is at 10 feet. If I want, I can click on this, go in here, change that to 12 feet, click on this, and click again, change this to 24 feet, and Revit's going to automatically adjust those. And we'll see again later, not only is Revit going to automatically adjust those, but it's going to adjust everything that's attached to them. Which is super cool, super handy, and it saves you a ton of time when you're generating things like elevations and section cuts. Now, just because I created that, we don't have that showing up here in the floor plan. And so what I need to do is come up here to Views, go to Plan Views, Floor Plan, and then Revit already knows, hey, I don't have a level 3 yet, we don't have one generated, so I'm going to click OK. And now I have a floor plan for my level 3 over here. So it's super handy with things like that. And then it's also got a couple features down here that I want to point out. So right now we have the scale. So if you want to change the scale of your drawing, that's not super important necessarily in the semester, so don't worry about it, and I don't have anything to really show you guys with it either. So just remember that the scale is going to be down there. Let me merge this in. You have your detail level. So if I put in a wall right here, let me get a, no, I'll show you. I'm going to go fully into that menu later. I'm just trying to show you guys what's going on here. So right now I have this wall right here, and if I go in here and I change this detail to fine, you can see that it to coarse and then or medium and then fine. It starts changing what's going on with each of those sections. All right. Additionally, I have different levels that I can render this at, so I can choose shaded, and it's actually going to color things in here. And then furthermore, I can do consistent colors, or a lot of students like doing realistic, but you can see how my icon is spinning right now, that can actually take a little bit of time, but you can see that it's going to fake render in some actual like fake bricks here. As I change the scale here, you might be able to see that it's gonna, let me do 1/2 inch. You can see that the actual thickness of these line weights is gonna drop. So if I do something like 1 inch, you can see that now it's pretty visible. There's other things you can do with that, and obviously that's gonna affect how you have the rest of your drawing as well. But for the most part, I would recommend that you work on shaded and medium for the most part, because you're gonna have the least number of issues there. Okay, so we've covered kind of your menu options up here. For our class, you're really only going to be doing architectural. There's a couple things in structure that we'll be touching on. Don't worry about steel precast systems. These we basically just ignore because they're not part of what we do. We will get into a couple inserts. We will be doing annotations. We won't be doing analyze. We will be doing massing and site and doing some topo surfaces. We don't do that. So view, we'll be doing a lot of stuff in view, especially managing some of these things in here. We don't really touch that, and then of course there's modify. So basically what I wanted to cover though is your top menu here, context sensitive menu, the draw menu that appears when you select a tool, optional changing things right here, your properties, the drop down that's right here for properties. Get familiar with this edit type button. This will be what we'll be showing off in the next demo, and the options to scroll through here, and then your project browser, and then the main window here. So those are kind of the main parts of this program that you're going to want to get really familiar with, because you're going to be using them a lot. All right. So I will see you guys in the next demo, and we will build a small room.